Thank you for tuning in to WDRB Media, the voice of the community. You are listening to Beyond the Barriers with Coach Cindy
and Mayor Sherri. On the Beyond the Barriers radio show, we believe we have the power to change the trajectory of our economic, social, health, and education outcomes by removing barriers that lie within historically excluded communities through cooperative models.
And our show sponsors is Sand Hills Cooperation Association, located at 348 North Main Street, Troy, North Carolina, serving 5 counties: Montgomery, Randolph, Moore, Richmond, and Stanley counties.
Welcome to today's segment of Beyond the Barriers radio show. We're excited to dive into a crucial topic that lies at the heart of equitable progress: economic development in historically excluded communities. What does that look like? Throughout April, we'll be exploring the multifaceted aspects of economic development within communities that have historically been marginalized and overlooked. Our discussions will revolve around strategies, challenges, and promising initiatives aimed at fostering sustainable economic growth and prosperity in these areas. Join us as we engage with experts, community leaders, and advocates who are actively working towards dismantling barriers and creating opportunities for economic empowerment. Together, we'll examine what effective economic development entails and how it can uplift individuals, families, and entire communities. Tune in today and every week in the month of April as we embark on this insightful journey toward understanding and promoting economic equity and inclusion. Let's break down barriers and build bridges towards a more prosperous future for all. Ready to ignite change? Sand Hills Cooperation Association empowers historically excluded communities, helping them become self-sufficient. Join us every Sunday at 5 o'clock p.m. for our Beyond the Barriers radio show on WDRB Media with Mayor Sherri
and Coach Cindy, addressing community challenges. Visit us at sandhillscooperation.org or visit us on Facebook, Sand Hills Cooperation Association, building brighter futures one community at a time.
Beyond the Barriers radio show.
Economic development. What does it look like in our historically marginalized community?
Right.
It is such a broad subject, though, and it should not be separate from economics in our county, economics in our state. There should be a definite connection. But let's start where we are. What does it look like in our communities? When we talk about economic development, do the people that make up our marginalized or our historically excluded communities, do they understand the language? Do they understand or even want to be involved in the process of development? Do they even understand what it means to them on a very personal level, like for family, for self? What are you thinking? Do you think they understand that? The one thing I don't want to do, and I'm not putting everybody in the same, because somebody in the community may know everything about it. But if I know everything and I'm not connecting it to you, I don't know enough.
Exactly. And then it's not even development, because a development it doesn't just happen with you personally, but it pours out to the rest of your community.
Exactly.
And beyond you. As we look at poverty and we look at how we as communities have viewed money,
right,
and how we viewed resources and how we viewed all of these different components to the economy, we often equate money to our prosperity.
Right.
We equate money, how much money you have makes you rich, or prosperous. It makes you prosperous, or so forth. So what we often tend to do is that we tend to base our community's condition on the amount of money that comes in. So we look a lot on the outside and say, hey, bring money, give us grants, give us this, give us that, and not realizing that wealth starts from within.
Exactly.
Right? So it's from inside out.
Yeah.
Our economic development is not something that is going to happen from somebody just coming in and just doing.
Right.
But it's us realizing the value that we have inside of us.
Yes.
And allowing
Yes.
that to blossom and to grow. And then we're teaching it to our children.
Right. By example and by just experience.
Right.
Giving them the experience. And you are so right. And I'm going to tell you, Kamala Harris was here this week.
Okay. Awesome.
And she came and she dropped I think it was $1 billion, but
Okay.
she dropped a lot of money for
Money.
economic development.
Okay. In
Yes,
North Carolina.
In North Carolina.
Okay.
So I thought when I saw it, I was like, so how's that money going to assimilate down into our communities? One of her purposes was to get it to the ground root, get it to the historically excluded communities. That was one of her asks.
Okay.
But Sherri, if I put something in your hand and say, hey, Sherri, I want you to take this and I want you to spread it to the needy without telling you and having you identify who are the needy.
And what do they really need?
And what do they need?
Right.
And the tendency with our government is to decide what we need and decide who needs it.
Yes.
So the needy is not necessarily the ones who have been historically excluded, because that's why they're historically excluded.
Right.
Because this is not the first time money's come in for economic development. We haven't been identified as the needy.
Wow.
We have been identified as those who don't want nothing.
Wow.
Shame on them. But what about us? How do we read that narrative, and how do we overcome that narrative? They don't want nothing. So we go right back to, what does economic development look like in our historically excluded communities? If I went into our community right now and had a community meeting and I said, today we're going to talk about economic development within your community, what do you think the first things they're going to think about is?
I think we've done that before.
Yeah, we have.
The first thing that comes out is, okay, well, we need a park in our community. We need a sidewalk. We need and it's aesthetic, what things physically I can see. I don't think I've heard we need more businesses in our community.
Right. We need more support with our Black business. I haven't heard economic development education.
Right.
I haven't heard that.
Right.
I haven't heard that happening.
Right.
I haven't heard anybody say, well, could you educate us on how we as a community can be economically developed? Because we have an idea that has been planted in our heads, and we're still buying the lie.
Yes.
Is that, I need you to tell me what I need. We're at square one. So how do we overcome it? And again, I want to give this disclaimer because I believe that there are people in the community who understands economic development. They understand because they used to live in it. When we had stores in our own community, when we had doctor's offices, when we had libraries, when we had our own schools, they understand that there was a development. I mean, you don't have to look far along. Wilmington, Black Wall Street.
Black Wall Street.
So somebody in the community definitely knows what economic development is supposed to look like. So why aren't they sharing their education? Why aren't they sharing their knowledge about what it should look like?
Personally, I believe whenever communities have been used to something for so long, even the Bible talks about they that sat in darkness have now seen this great light through Jesus. Whenever Jesus came, the Bible said that he came to his own and they received him not. And one of the assignments, he said, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me to preach the gospel to the poor.
Absolutely.
It's not that he didn't say I came to bring money to the poor. I came, but to preach the gospel, the good news.
Yes.
So whenever you're telling people that, yeah, you are in this position, your mom was in this position, your grandma was in it, and your great grandma was in it, but you don't have to be in
You
it.
can stop it right now.
You can stop it, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes that can look so out of reach that anybody that is saying that is bringing that, they can be so foreign to them. And it's like, I can't see myself out of where I am. But it requires, as community champions, it requires us to be committed to make sure that that knowledge is brought to our community.
Right.
Like, we can't just make a temporary attempt. Oh no, I tried and that's it. Right.
We buy the lie. We buy the narrative. The biggest thing is fear. Like you said, if I got used to it and you're telling me that it don't have to be this way, but I don't even feel equipped to make a difference in my life life or the life of my community. I'm afraid, so it's easier to just say they don't want nothing. Now, we heard that when we went into a community. These people don't want nothing. But what I learned from that is that came from an attempt to make a change.
Right.
Maybe didn't know how, but attempted to make a change in the mindset of the people and got so much pushback, they decided the people don't want nothing.
Right.
What makes our sponsors, SCA, so unique to our communities is that pushback is built in and we're equipped to handle it. We understand that people have got to get used to a new narrative. So if it's one today, maybe 10 tomorrow, maybe 20 in a year, we're not giving up. This has got to happen. It's got to happen for the benefit not only of the generation that we're in, but in the generations to come. And if somebody don't make a difference, we can't blame anybody for change not happening. Somebody's got to say it.
We got to make sure that the way we leave this place is better than how we found it. And I believe today's guest is doing just that.
Oh my goodness, yes.
We're going to have this brief break and we will be right back after this message.
All right.
I'm just a kid, but I know something big. I know the power of community. In our historically excluded neighborhoods, we can rise together. We need your help, your support. Let's build something stronger and break the cycle. A better future is within reach, but we need you. Join hands, be the change. Together, we are a force. This is our community, our story. Will you be a part of it? Visit sandhillscooperation.org and become a part of the change.
Beyond the Barriers Radio Show.
This is April, and we are springing into economic development within historically excluded communities. What does it look like?
Today we have in our studio Miss Yvette Troublefield, who serves as a senior mortgage loan specialist. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Well, it's good for you to be here with us. Can you introduce yourself? Tell us about yourself.
Well, as you already said, my name is Yvette Troublefield. I am a mortgage loan specialist with State Employees Credit Union. I've been there as of Monday, April 8th. It will actually be 11 years.
Okay.
Which is a long time. But it's a great place to work. As a mortgage loan specialist, I help you whenever you're ready to buy your house. I also do a lot of financial counseling as well to get you in the best position. I'm also one of the outreach coordinators. So I go into the schools, different community settings, teach financial literacy classes to basically put you in the best financial state that you want to be in. So this month, actually, April is Financial Literacy Month. Roy Cooper announced that a couple years ago that April is officially Financial Literacy Month. So the timing of your topic is fantastic. Little did you know, you hit the nail right on the head.
Awesome.
So what does that look like with financial literacy? What is the expectation for this month?
Any knowledge that you are needing, that you are receiving it. Put yourself in whatever situation you're trying to be in, whether that is to buy your first house, whether that is to save up money to take a vacation, or just save up money for retirement. You should have all doors open to you, whether it's through your financial institution, whether it's through some other third party where they have classes that you can take, or even if it's something simple as watching the TikTok. Right. They always giving you all types of advice. This is the month for you to get yourself back in order. A lot of times we set these goals, especially beginning of the new year, and by April, you probably broke it, right? So hopefully at that month, you're able to reevaluate some things and set yourself back on pace. Okay. So that's the whole point of Financial Literacy Month, to reset yourself.
Where do you teach this financial literacy?
Greensboro is usually where I do most of the teaching. I was even at a middle school today doing a fun activity that we do called Reality of Money with them to give students an idea of what life is going to be like as an adult. They learn how to budget. They learn the difference between need and want. They learn what gross income, net income is. They also learn the difference between high credit scores, lower credit scores, and what that means for you long term when you become an adult. Even at 18, when they start getting those letters in the mail with credit cards, understanding that credit cards aren't good or bad. They're not in either or. It's all about how you discipline yourself. So teaching them those things. But of course, we also teach adult financial literacy classes in Greensboro. We do that every quarter. First quarter, we teach you about spending plan, aka budgeting. Don't like to use the word budgeting because budgeting has that negative connotation to it. When you think of budgeting, you think of limitations. But when you think of spending plan, you're just thinking about throwing money. Right. So we call it spending plan. And with that one, I love that one because it talks about your mindset. A lot of times you see these videos or you hear advice from other people and they're telling you, you have to save this way. You have to budget your money this way. But if your mindset isn't right, if you don't have that foundation, then you're going to mess up. That's exactly why New Year's resolutions don't work. Because your mindset isn't right. You think about it. You think, oh, I can reach this goal. I can even be this weight. I can lose this amount of pounds. I can save this amount of money for what I'm trying to do. But if your mindset isn't right, you're going to break it. So that's what we teach the first class. Second quarter, we teach on credit. We teach you how to understand a credit score, what makes up a credit score, what can make a credit score go up, down, stay the same. I also even teach you how to read a credit report. A lot of people don't know how to even read one. Understanding what a soft pull is versus a hard pull. Understanding what is on your own credit report. Whenever you walk into any loan officer's office, you should already know what they're going to say. You should already know what's on your credit report. So when they ask you what happened in 2019, you should already know. It shouldn't be a, well, I was young and dumb. No, you should have an answer for it. Right? So that's what we teach in that
So
class.
young and dumb can't really be the answer.
No. That is not a thing. Main thing is we want to see that you take responsibility. Right? It can't be, well, I co-signed with my aunt and, she got this car. She was the one supposed to be making the payments. No. You co-sign. Therefore, you are held equally responsible. That's right. Yes, she might be the main person making the payments, but when you co-sign, you are signing off saying, you know what, if she don't make the payments, I got it. Right. So that's what we want to see. You at least taking responsibility. Yes, I got behind in 2019, but as you see in 2020, we on track. So as long as, we see that type of consistency, usually you're in a better position. So that's what that. And then the third class is the mortgage class. So that one is usually focused on first-time home buyers. We do touch a little bit on people who are trying to refinance or get home equities. We'll talk about that, but the class does mainly focus on first-time home buyers, different programs that are out there, mainly, of course, what the credit union offers, but we do lightly touch on VA, USDA, things like that, lightly. But we talk about programs that we offer, different financing options, and we walk you through the home buying process. Right? We take you from when you are waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, like, I think I should buy a house. We take you from there all the way to your closing. I even show a sales contract so you can actually see the document that you are signing and what we are paying attention to as loan officers so you understand what you're signing. You're not just signing it because a realtor passed you a piece of paper and you are, of course, you're excited about the house, which is what a lot of people do. You're so excited, you're just signing, not really reading what you're signing. So we go over that step by step and let you know about other programs that are out there that can give you assistance if you're needing it. So that's that class. And the very last class is on financial advisory services. That one is more about estate planning. So getting your will together, power of attorney, HIPAA, we talk about that. We even talk about insurance, life insurance, different health insurances, things of that nature. And we also talk about investments. And the investments part isn't really to give you advice. It's more so you are familiar with the language. So whenever you are talking to an investment rep or whenever you're even watching the news, you know what's going on. You don't just, I'm tuning that part out because NASDAQ, what's that? It's not that. You know about portfolios and having diversity and even find out about yourself. Am I more conservative or am I more liberal, when it comes to investing? So that's what we do.
When you're doing these classes or trainings or whatever, that you see a diverse group of people, what is it doing in the historically marginalized community? Do you get people from those excluded communities to participate? And if you do, is it a challenge? What do you have to do to get them in the room?
Well, the whole point when we first started this with the financial literacy, me and another coworker, well, 2 of them, we actually had the conversation that we wanted to do financial literacy classes. We said we see a need, we see it in the community, we see it with members, and we have to do something. But it took an advisory board member at a meeting to say, do you guys offer this? And that was more like the push, like, okay, we really got to do this. So the initiative was written. My coworker, Micah Gaylord, wrote it up, sent it to our SVP, Ray Weaver, and the ball started rolling. But it's all because the need was there.
Right.
And it was from people who look like us.
Okay.
That's where the need was coming from.
Good,
We saw that most of the time when we're seeing people come into our offices asking for loans and they look like us, it wasn't enough to just give them the money. No, I need to coach you on what to do.
Right.
It really wasn't about, okay, you need this money for Christmas. Christmas comes at the same time every year.
Right.
Why are you coming to a loan for a Christmas loan?
Right.
You know, but it takes more financial counseling. Let's
Right.
put you, sometimes giving you a loan isn't putting you in the best financial situation.
Right.
It's more, I need to teach you what to do with the money you have. Because culturally, we know how to spend money, but we don't know how to save it.
Right.
Right?
Or invest it.
Or invest it. Because our whole thing is, I'm going to worry about me right now. I'm not thinking about long term. That's one of, I know for me personally, that's probably one of my biggest issues is the fact that funerals bother me. We, as a people, a lot of times when it comes to having a will, we don't have one. Because we figure, oh, well, I'm going to be gone. So that's their problem.
Yeah.
But you're not thinking that that shouldn't be their problem. They're already grieving. It's your responsibility to have everything in order so that they can grieve and everything be taken care of.
Right.
They're not having to jump through hoops and fight courts and try to
Do
show
GoFundMe.
these different documents and do a GoFundMe that can't be trusted, you know. So it shouldn't be that way. So we saw that need, and it's amazing to me that this is our second year doing these classes, and the majority of the people in the class are Black and brown.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the majority of church folk.
Oh.
The majority of church
That's
folk.
good. That's
Which is
good to
amazing because I've had, especially with this last one, we had almost a full congregation in there. I mean, it was amazing to see that, and then they're able to take it back to their church and they even told, oh, we coming stronger next time. We'll see in June, we're coming even stronger. And that's beautiful because the word talks about tithing. It talks about you being, the lender, not the borrower. Money is finances, stewardship is talked about throughout the Bible.
Right.
So you have to govern yourself accordingly.
You see in all kind of media where if you're going to be recognized as somebody important or somebody wealthy, you got to wear this name brand. So we invest in looking good when the people that we are making rich probably don't even wear those products themselves.
Very true.
Changing that mindset through the work that you do, how challenging is that?
It is very challenging because it's almost like a stronghold. Pretty much. It's that mindset of, what is it called? We're keeping up with the Joneses.
Right.
It's that kind of mindset you have to get rid of. And also teaching that where you are financially now doesn't mean you're always going to be there. Right? There is going to become, hopefully, a point in time where if you want those name brand things, there's nothing wrong with having them, but that might not need to be your situation right now. It's okay to shop at the thrift store. There's some good stuff at the thrift store, first of all. You just got to look. Okay?
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with having discount items for now, knowing that in years' time, or depending on whatever your financial situation is, you can have that name brand. So there's nothing wrong with that. But there's also nothing wrong with just downsizing for a little bit. But we're so busy trying to keep up with the Joneses and trying to have this appearance so other people can think that we have these things when we really don't. That's the whole point of, like I said, that first class, teaching you about your mindset.
One thing in our historically excluded communities, we've been excluded from financial literacy.
Exactly.
Right? Like that's one of our exclusions is that our community is not full of that literacy part to where we know about stocks and bonds. We know it because we didn't have anything to invest or we were excluded from investing. So we're pretty much on that back end and we are catching up. So we don't want to show our ignorance.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? It's it's embarrassing to be as old as we are and still not know some of these things. So I'm appreciative that you all are taking up with this younger generation where they're more money conscious, they're more discipline conscious as well. Because as the church, we've been naming and claiming it.
Right.
Run around, jump up and down, and do all these things.
Yeah.
Right. And a check is going to come in your bank.
Yes, sow this and you're going to receive this.
Exactly.
And don't even understand the concept. But like you said, prosperity is throughout the whole Bible. And preachers have been, and some of them have mispreached it, but they get bashed for telling us that we should be wealthy. You have to know what is the truth, which you can read it for yourself. And prosperity, even in the Bible, starts with the mindset.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, God tells us first, know me and know what I mean by prosperity. It's being in control of your life by the word of God. Well, the word of God tells you what to do with your money.
It does.
It does.
It tells you
Plain
what
as
to
day.
do. Plain as day.
Now, when did you become money conscious?
I guess my dad, growing up, living with him, because my parents aren't married. So I grew up in two households. I had my mother, who's here in Troy. Then I have my dad, who's kind of lived in different places because he had to go through his residency and all of that as a doctor. So I got to see two different lifestyles. Growing up with my mom and my grandparents in the household, and as an only child, it was more, I don't want to say I was spoiled, I was loved. That's what I was saying. I was loved. Granted, of course, they did tell me no at times, but for the most part, I mean, then with my grandparents were young grandparents. I got away with some stuff. But with my dad, being that my dad, he's gone through poverty before, he's been homeless before, learning how to manage money was more, I guess, on his side, more so. I think we were talking about earlier a little bit, growing up eating a lot of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, which is why I really don't like them today. But we did that with him. I mean, I remember being in middle school in 6th, 7th grade, bringing my lunch to school because we didn't get any allowance to be able to buy a school lunch. I remember having a hot dog with just the hot dog. No bun, no ketchup, mustard. We had no money for that. I remember even having peanut butter and jelly sandwiches on a hot dog bun because that's all the bread we had left.
Right.
But he taught us about tithing. He taught us about praying before offering. My mother taught me the discipline of this is what you're supposed to do, but not really like breaking it down, I guess you could say, for me. She taught basics. But my dad was more thorough with it. Like, you have $2. You need to hold on to that $2. Okay? Right. My mom was more like, you have $2. That means you got one to spare. You can hold to the other one.
Ask grandma to give you
ask grandma to give you some more. Not to say that her way was wrong because she taught me what she knew. Right? My dad is teaching me what he knows. That's what we all do as a community. I'm going to teach you what I know.
Right.
Which can long-term be a good thing or a bad thing. But with my dad, he was more hands-on with it when it comes to learning about finances. Now, as far as getting in-depth, like things about credit and investments and knowing what the level I know now, that came from my job.
Gotcha.
That was more, they do offer training, but of course it's one of those you learn as you go. Right. You see so many credit reports. Oh, okay, that looks bad. I probably don't want to do that with my own credit. Learning that way. But I learned from both of them in different ways about wealth, about how to spend money. Mama was good at teaching me math. Yeah. And she would sit me at the table teaching me fractions because to this day I hate fractions. But she's the one who taught me fractions and percentages. Daddy taught me dollar. They taught me in different ways, and I guess coming together, I am where I am now.
How should parents go about making sure that their children are financial literate?
In a way, you're doing it right. You're teaching them. If you're doing it wrong, you're teaching them what not to do.
Okay,
right?
Gotcha.
But to be more sound with it, I guess you want to start with basics, needs and wants. That's something that even as an adults struggle with. We talked about that, wanting to wear the name brand. That's a want. That's not a need.
That's right.
You don't need that. Teaching them needs and wants at an early age, which is actually something we do. I do go to the elementary schools too. That's where we start. Teaching them needs and wants, teaching them producers and consumers. We also do that as well. And make it a fun activity for them. When you go grocery shopping, showing them, well, this costs this much. If this milk costs, I'm just throwing a random number. This milk costs $5.95. But if we go with this brand, it's the same milk, but it's gonna cost us $4.95. Which one do you think Mama should buy? Now, mind you, the more money we have set aside, we might can go to Chuck E. Cheese next week.
Right.
You know, teaching them that.
Make it relevant.
Yeah, make it relevant for them. Start them at the grocery store, showing them even how you manage. You know, when they get in their teenage years and you're doing your monthly budgets or however often you budget, showing them how you do it. Play games with them.
Right.
Monopoly is awesome. How we have the activity that we do with the middle school and high school students of Reality of Money. Do Reality of Money with your kids.
Oh, yeah.
You know, when they play money, or even when you give them money for doing things.
Right.
You know, you give them allowances,
Yeah.
and they come to you and mommy, you know, I want these new pairs of shoes. What you gonna do for it?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You have stuff to do. You're supposed to be making good grades. You're supposed to be doing this and this around the house. I'm gonna give you 50 cents for, you know, you cleaning the bathroom, and them being able to finance their own, so that they're able to see. And then they might end up changing their mind. You know what? I have all this money. I don't want a new pair of shoes. I want a whole outfit.
I want to pay that much.
You know, yes. And even if you're telling them, if they ask you, well, can I do this or can we go to McDonald's? If we go to McDonald's, that's coming out of your pocket. They're going to change their mind.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to say, well, you know what? We got McDonald's at home.
They do.
Okay. You know, that
you
you got to
said
make
that.
it plain for them. And then, but you also take responsibility of their finances. Open up an account for them.
Right.
When you go in the bank, take them with you. Don't leave them in the car.
Right.
Don't leave them at the house. Let them be able to see. As many times as we go into these schools, and I even ask the students, hey, you know, do you guys go with your parents to the bank or to the financial institution? And some of them are like, I've watched my mama walk in one. I've seen my dad go in there and come back happy because they got proof for a loan, you know, but I don't know what goes on in there.
Right.
So take them in there with you. Let them get familiar with the lingo. Let them even doing something as simple as when you walk up to the teller, let them be the one to hand the teller the money.
Yeah.
Right.
So they get the feel of it. Give them some type of responsibility with money when it's their birthday. Instead of people giving them gifts, have people put money in an account. You have to teach them young.
That's good. That's good. Now listen, we're going to go for a brief break. We're going to continue this conversation. It is April, and April is our economic development within historically excluded communities. What does it look like? And we have our special guest, Yvette Troublefield, but we'll be right back after this message.
Are you ready to make a real difference in the world? This April, join us in our mission to foster economic development in historically excluded communities. Imagine a world where every community has access to opportunities for growth and prosperity. That's the world we're striving for, and we need your help to make it a reality. Whether you're an entrepreneur looking to invest, a volunteer eager to lend a hand, or simply someone who cares about creating a more equitable society, there's a role for you to play. Together, we can build vibrant local economies, create jobs, and empower individuals and families to achieve their dreams. So, this April, let's roll up our sleeves and get to work. Let's show the world what's possible when we come together to support economic development in historically excluded communities. Listen every Sunday in the month of April at 5 p.m. on WDRBmedia.com to learn how you can get involved. Together, we can make a lasting impact for generations to come. Economic development starts with you. Let's make a difference together.
This summer, unlock the potential of your child at the Love Summer Academy. Hooray! Join us for a summer filled with fun, learning, and growth. Our program offers exciting activities like hands-on science projects, youth entrepreneurship, STEM sessions, and so much more.
Awesome!
Give your child the opportunity to develop critical thinking skills, build self-confidence, and make lifelong friendships in a safe and supportive environment.
Cool!
Enroll your child today and watch them thrive at the Love Summer Academy. Spaces are limited, so don't wait. Visit our website at sandhillscooperation.org or call to register at 910-573-3070. Love Summer Academy, where every child's potential shines bright.
Attention all community champions. It's time to shine a spotlight on those who make a difference. Nominations are now open for the Black Journey Continues 2025 Service Awards. Do you know someone who goes above and beyond to serve our community? Nominate them today at blackjourneycontinues.com and let's celebrate their outstanding contributions together. Join us in honoring the unsung heroes who make our community thrive. Together, let's continue the journey of service and recognition. Visit our website at blackjourneycontinues.com to submit your nomination before May 31st. Black Journey Continues 2025 Service Awards, celebrating excellence in service and community impact in Montgomery, Moore, Randolph, Richmond, and Stanley counties, North Carolina. Nominate now. Visit our website at blackjourneycontinues.com.
Attention innovators, community builders, and champions of positive change. Beyond the Barriers radio show is inviting you to be part of our empowering journey. We're on the lookout for sponsors who believe in breaking barriers and amplifying voices in historically excluded communities. Want to showcase your brand or cause to our engaged audience? Visit Sandhill Scooperation or to explore exciting sponsorship opportunities, from on-air endorsements to impactful commercials. Become a part of a platform that celebrates resilience, triumph, and community strength. Our show is not just about telling stories. It's about shaping narratives and making a lasting impact. By sponsoring Beyond the Barriers, you align your brand with a mission of inclusivity, empowerment, and positive change. Visit sandhillscooperation.org today to purchase advertisements, endorsements, or even secure a spot as a guest on our show. Let's break barriers together and create a vibrant, connected community. Beyond the Barriers radio show, where every sponsorship is an investment in positive transformation. Be a catalyst for change. Visit sandhillscooperation.org now. Beyond the Barriers radio show. Breaking barriers, building connections.
Beyond the Barriers radio show.
You're listening to Beyond the Barriers radio show, and I'm your host, Mayor Sherri.
And I'm Coach Cindy.
If you're just tuning in, we are discussing economic development within historically excluded communities. What does it look like? And we have joining us in the studio today is Yvette Troublefield. And we've been having great discussion, great conversation, and we're just going to go ahead and dive back into it. Yes. Now, I know how I feel going into a bank. And I know that I'm not the only one. Right. What differences do you see between those within historically excluded communities going into a bank compared to our counterparts?
Well, I guess the best way to say it is even the way that they enter the room is different. When it comes to us, they come into the room already looking defeated. Even if they think that there's a possibility you might approve them, it's like they come in thinking you're going to deny me. Mm-hmm. I already know you're going to deny me because you're on that side of the table and I'm on this side. You denied so-and-so, so I know you're going to deny me. Versus our counterparts come in like they're doing us a favor by them even coming in the room. I've had some even tell me about my job when they know diddly squat. There's more of a vulnerability. When I talked about before about taking responsibility, I haven't seen it where we consistently do that. We have a tendency to even take out loans to give money to family without thinking twice about it. So when I pull your credit and I'm looking at your credit report and I see you have all these derogatory things, the first thing you're saying, well, my mom needed this, my son needed this, I took out these loans and stuff, but you aren't really taking responsibility for it. We are giving people, very giving people. Right. So we've had to be. Yeah. Counterparts, you on your own. I'm not taking out a loan for you. Yeah. It's far in between where I see something and it says joint on it. If it does say joint, they're married. Even then, I get married couples in my office, their stuff is totally separate. You have yours, I have mine. I'm on the deed with you. Right. But as far as this mortgage is concerned, hubby taking care of that. It's one of those versus with us, it's more like you're pulling for strings. Okay, my mom, she makes good money, but I know her credit bad. Or so-and-so, their credit might be good, but we ain't really got no money. Right. Who can I add on here? Right. It's like you're trying to get someone else. But at the same time, when it comes to asking for help, we don't mind. I've seen that as well. The reason why the financial literacy classes even started, the majority, and like I say, even when it comes to participation, the majority of the participation comes from Black and brown people in our classes.
I do believe our counterparts get that literacy from family. Mm-hmm. They get that literacy from institutions that really don't talk to us about it. Right. Like I believe that they can go in the bank and if they talk to the right person or even before they sit in your chair, they've already made a call, and they were like, oh yeah, come on in. We got you. We have been excluded from that privilege.
Yeah.
And so when we come, we are literally feeling like, okay, can I get that one over there? Because she looked like me. Maybe she'll understand.
And praying the whole time.
Yeah. Like, yeah, maybe she'll understand that, mama didn't have no money. She had to get her meds. We are illiterate oftentimes not because we don't want to know. We don't even know we need to know.
Right.
We don't know we can know.
And we don't know what to know.
And we don't know
Exactly. I have seen it so many times. I've had so many Black folk come in my office and say, I didn't know credit was important until I needed it.
Right.
Had no
That's
clue.
right.
And they're coming in asking for a loan. I pull their credit and I'm seeing your credit score is a 560. But you had no idea.
Right.
Or you don't understand. I get all the time people who don't understand collections and charge-offs and how that affects you. And that just because it falls off your credit, it can still come back. Like people don't understand that. People don't understand that when your car gets repossessed, you still owe.
Yeah.
Right.
That car that car leaving and you not seeing it anymore and the bank taking it, you still owe on that repossession. The balance doesn't just disappear.
Right.
Some people feel like, well, if the car ain't working and it's just sitting in my lot, I don't owe on it. You still owe on that car. That happens all the time.
They also don't understand, in which I had to learn through a repossession, is that the bank is going to sell that and that can go against your balance.
Yes.
And so, but banks don't tell you that, so they charge you for your deficit, what you didn't pay, when at the same time they're getting money from a resale.
That goes back to what I said of you should know what I'm going to say. When you come in my office, you need to know what I know.
Exactly.
And that's what that means. That's the whole point of you even having like what you have with this month. That's another reason why you need financial literacy month, so you can actually know this is the opportunity for you to pull your own credit.
Right.
Yeah.
Look at what's on your credit report.
Yes.
And actually, if you have questions, your financial institution is responsible for giving you answers. You pull your own credit with annualcreditreport.com. You pull your own credit report. Pull it. Look at it. I don't care how small it is. If you look at your credit report and you see your address is messed up, call Equifax. Y'all messed up my address. I've never lived at that place before.
Right.
It doesn't matter what it is. You look at that and you should know whatever loan officer you go to, you need to be able to see what they see and break it down for you.
And there's so many scams and so many people using other people's
Identity
names
fraud.
and identity fraud. They're saying, like, if I pull my credit and I see that I'm charged at an address I've never lived at, I can challenge that. Like, you cannot prove that I live there. You cannot prove I owe that bill. Yeah, this is the month to just kind of help us, like, listen, this is your reset.
Right, exactly. You should know all of those things. Yeah, you can dispute those. I mean, you got 3 credit bureaus. Call all of them. This is not supposed to be on there. Take it off. That you can even put freezes on your credit report. So, and you can lift it. So if you go into the bank and you want to get a credit card, you can call the Equifax, Experian, TransUnion. You call them and say, hey, you can go ahead and lift it. And they'll go ahead and lift it so the place can go ahead and run your credit.
Right.
I know with FICO's great. That's where you should be getting your credit score from. And FICO has it where you can have security alerts on there. So you are aware of when anyone tries to run your credit. It sends you a little message on your phone letting you know, hey, look like someone tried to pull your credit. Or if they'll let you know when a soft pull happens, when a hard pull happens, any of those.
And I ask you, did you just have your credit ran? Because if it wasn't you, that means somebody fraudulent. Tried to pull your credit.
What I'm hearing from you is that we need to treat our credit, our financial literacy, like we need to take responsibility for that.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Because it is a driving force in our communities. It's a driving force personally, and it's something that we need to be well aware of and should not have to go to somebody else to tell us. I mean, it's like we have to have our own mirror, our financial mirror that we're able to look at and say, okay, this is how I look financially, and I need to adjust. The same personal wear we put on our
hair.
Right, I know I need to readjust. I didn't know my credit like that. Yes. What steps should taken? What other things can our listeners do in order to be financially aware of their own personal
Being aware of your finances at this moment, right? Where you are at now. I do this thing personally called Desk Day, where and you can have your own, you don't have to call it Desk Day. You can call it my spending plan day or my meeting, whatever you want to call it. But you should have a time, and usually people do it around their payday. Or some people do it once a month. I do it once a month, but I know I have a friend, he does his literally because we get paid semi-monthly, so he does his semi-monthly. But do it around that time and budget yourself. Look at how much money am I spending every month on everything. One thing you need to know is every dollar has a job. There's no such thing as miscellaneous money. Right. That is not a thing. That's right. I don't care what anybody else tells you. That is not a thing. Every dollar has a job. So you should be able to, there should be an account for every single dollar that leaves. Even if it's $1 that goes to Chick-fil-A, because y'all know anything Chick-fil-A costs $1. But every dollar has a name. So you should write down every single thing. Just sit down. Say, you know what? I spent this amount of money on gas. This is how much my rent is. This is how much my mortgage is. Even insurance. This is how much my car insurance is. And it should be the same every month. Now, of course, you want to take into consideration things that don't cost you the same thing every single time. Right. But those monthly expenses that cost the same, you should know what comes out of your pocket. Right. It shouldn't be one of those situations where, because I remember I used to see it when I was in member services, somebody call and say, look, I had $100 in there. I don't know where my money went. And I'm having to read off their expenses. And then I say, well, $60 went to the ABC store. Oh, wow. Right? Right. You forgot about that. But every dollar should have a name. And something else you want to consider, don't lend money if you already don't have it. Like I said, we are giving people. We do. We love it. We love to give. But if you don't have it to spare, don't give it. Right? I know someone may tell you, hey, I just need $20. And you're like, okay, I'm going to give this $20, but you got to pay me back next week. You have no business giving them that $20. Right? If you can't afford to lose it, don't give it.
That's what I say. That's my saying. I'm not going to give away anything that I can't live without.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because you're going to lose friends that way too. With family members, relationships. Right. Right. Folks don't like paying you back.
Yeah, and they get mad.
Get mad when you ask for it back. What is that? Like, why you not to my call?
You knew I was broke when you gave it to me. That's how you gave it to me.
But that is where you want to start, being able to look at where you are now and set a goal. You have your short-term, mid-term, and long-term goals. Set those goals for yourself. And it doesn't have to be anything extravagant. It could be, there's a purse that I really, really like. Set that goal for yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. Right. You know, being and discipline yourself. I do have a friend of mine. She also works at the credit union. She did something that I might even pick up, where when she eats out, because she likes to eat out, but when she eats out, she sets aside $2 every time. So that is saving within itself. Like, okay, I really want Chick-fil-A for lunch today. I'm going to do that, but I know it's going to cost me extra $2 that I'm going to have to put away. So then you're rethinking, do I really want this?
Right.
You know, but just setting up habits for yourself, being aware, that's probably the main thing I think is a great place to start, is being aware of where you are.
Yeah.
You know, and it's okay that you and your friend, your finances are going to be different.
Yeah.
So it's okay to tell your friend, girl, I can't go on this trip. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
But catch me next year.
Yeah.
Because I'm saving for it.
Yeah.
That's one of my goals.
Right.
You know, but that's where you want to start, looking at your finances where they are now, pulling your credit, going on annualcreditreport.com. You can pull with all 3 credit bureaus once a week for free. Before COVID, you could only pull it once a year. After COVID, they changed it where you can actually pull all 3 credit bureaus once a week. Checking your own credit report. Print it off, take it to your institution. Look, you don't even have to pull my credit. I pulled my credit report. This is what I'm looking at. Walk me through what I'm looking at. Okay, now that you have my credit report, show me what I need to do to get to this goal that I'm trying to reach. I mean, they're holding your money. That's the least they could do.
Right.
Your financial institution is there to work for you.
Yeah.
So since you're putting your money there, make that money work for you.
Yeah.
Make them work for you.
Yeah.
Right? I need to know what you offer me, whether that is letting me know about security, making sure that my money is federally insured.
Right.
I need to know how much are you insuring me for. If something happens, and you're going to pay me back.
Right.
You know, if a scam happens and somebody steals my credit card information, what are you guys willing to do about it? What other accounts do you have outside of a regular savings and a checking account that can help me. One of the things I love, and I'm gonna boost the credit union because that's where I work. But but one of the things I love about the credit union is we have a summer cash account that helps you. Like I said, Christmas comes the same time every year. Right. This account is for that, for the holidays. It's an account that you set up. You have money. All you're doing is making deposits in it, and it pays out on October 3rd at the last business day of October. So when that day comes, you're not calling wondering about, okay, what am I do about Christmas? I need a loan for this. You already have the money. Yeah. It's already there. We also have an account for our teacher, because that's who we're here to serve mainly. We have an account for the teacher so that they're paid those summer months where they're not getting a paycheck. They still are getting a check. Whatever is important to you, you have to ask those questions to your financial institutions. Right. What are you doing to make my money work for me?
We got to know that we can.
Yes.
That's it.
Because that's
that empowerment.
People, right, empowerment. Yeah. Because we don't know that we can ask them that. We go in feeling intimidated and illiterate. Yeah. And so just like we do at doctor's offices or any other institution with authority, we don't feel like we can actually have that conversation. Right. So I love that you guys are doing a literacy class with the Black and Brown communities. I don't think you can do it too much.
Right. And now and you do it in Greensboro. Do you all travel outside of Greensboro?
We can. You ask, we coming.
Okay. So our listeners
you ask, we coming.
Right. Our listeners hear that the credit union is willing to go and do it community based or just school based? How does that work?
You need us with there.
All right,
community.
Awesome.
We are now. We had the conversation this week. We're talking about getting us some churches. Because churches have asked us to come, and I am blessed to have my counterpart who works with me, Micah Gaylord. You have met him. Micah is also. We both follow Christ, and a lot of times when we are talking to the kids, we throw scripture, they have no idea. Right. We throwing the word in there, and we'll tell them, hey, be blessed. Even with that, like we're so he and I both have had that conversation where we are trying to even take it outside of just the guardrails that we have right now and put it more in the communities. I've done colleges, A&T. I've done A&T before. We're actually doing a series with them now. Okay. UNCG done them. Also GTCC have done that. I'm supposed to be going to Alamance Community College soon in about 2 weeks. To talk with them. You call, we coming.
All right. Well, where can our listeners contact you?
Of course, with State Employees Credit Union, I am the only Yvette Troublefield there.
Okay, gotcha.
So you can easily just call the credit union and just ask for Yvette Troublefield. I am there. Even if I'm not there, you can leave me a voicemail. My direct phone number to my office is 336-804-3434. Give me a call. Even if I'm not there, which 9 times out of 10, if I'm not there, I'm at a school. Okay. So if I'm not there, you can always leave me a voicemail and I will promise to call you back.
Awesome. Well, we thank you, Miss Yvette Troublefield, for being with us during this Financial Literacy Month. Yes. We're here on Beyond the Barriers. We are addressing economic development within historically excluded communities. What does that look like? And you have been a great inspiration for us today.
Thank you.
And I just thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you. I would like to say, one of my favorite quotes is by Dr. Miles Monroe, who says, if you don't know the purpose of a thing, you will abuse the thing. Right? And that's every aspect of your life, especially when it comes to finances. Right. If your money doesn't have purpose, you're going to abuse it.
That's right.
Right? So that's my goal, to make sure that you are not abusing your wellness when it comes to your finances. So I appreciate you guys for having me.
No, this has been a real pleasure. Real pleasure. And that was a good ending right there.
Yeah, it is. Thank you so much. Listen, we are going on to break. You're tuned into WDRB Media, the voice of the community. Don't go anywhere because we'll be right back after this.
Beyond the Barriers nugget of wisdom from Coach Cindy.
Hi, this is Coach Cindy with your nugget of wisdom for the week. And today I'm going to talk about a word that inspires us to continue in our good works. The word is courage. So what is courage? Well, by biblical definition, it is the willingness to stand against anything or anyone that is defiant to the good success of our goals. And we do it with divine wisdom, strength, knowledge, and zeal. However, courage is sometimes exercised without divine wisdom. When courage is used to do something that defies love, it is bound to end up in a disaster. For example, Pharaoh's army had the courage to go after Moses and the children of Israel as they were crossing the Red Sea. And if you know that story, you know that it ended up in one of the greatest disasters in history. But let's look at the courage that it took Moses and the Israelites, the courage that it took them to walk across the Red Sea, believing the promise of God, who is the author of divine wisdom. That courage led them into freedom from slavery. Courage that is born out of divine wisdom will bring us out of the bondage of fear. So as we continue our journey toward good success, which, by the way, is biblically defined as success that brings good outcomes for everyone involved. But I'll share more about that with you next week. But let's make sure that our courage is coupled with divine wisdom. When we do that, we are assured that we will have good success. The same kind of success that Joshua had as he led the Israelites into the promised land. Good success, promised land, divine wisdom. That is what courage is built on, and that is the outcome of good courage. Until next week, you be wise, be healthy, and be blessed.
Beyond the Barriers nugget of wisdom from Coach Cindy.
Beyond the Barriers radio show.
Attention innovators, community builders, and champions of positive change. Beyond the Barriers radio show is inviting you to be part of our empowering journey. We're on the lookout for sponsors who believe in breaking barriers and amplifying voices in historically excluded communities. Want to showcase your brand or cause to our engaged audience? Visit Sandhills Corporation Board to explore exciting sponsorship opportunities, from on-air endorsements to impactful commercials. Become a part of a platform that celebrates resilience, triumph, and community strength. Our show is not just about telling stories. It's about shaping narratives and making a lasting impact. By sponsoring Beyond the Barriers, you align your brand with a mission of inclusivity, empowerment, and positive change. Visit sandhillscooperation.org today to purchase advertisements, endorsements, or even secure a spot as a guest on our show. Let's break barriers together and create a vibrant, connected community. Beyond the Barriers radio show, where every sponsorship is an investment in positive transformation.